When we look forward into 2021 and we had the vaccine, what will retail in the Des Moines area look like? Will some areas like the Grimes and the Prairie Trails and Ankeny's prosper and continue to benefit more than other areas in the metro area? Or what does getting back to normal look like sort of in 2021 or 2022? Michael?
Yeah, I would, to me, some of that's kind of a demographic question, right? Some of these areas of, Grimes has done well, Johnson's done well, Waukee, West Des Moines, Altoona, these communities, the folks in those communities, have disposable income, and I would imagine those spaces have tended to stay full. The areas that have been challenged have been in different demographic areas where you see, older centers, more B space, C space. Those are going to be increasingly difficult to fill. And so I think you're going to see just this real interesting difference between, market to market. Some of the more inner city, if you will, locations are going to be challenged somewhat. But as you go out into those areas that are still growing, people are still building homes, densities are going up, you're going to fill those centers up. And the thing that's been surprising to me, a lot of it hasn't been, but what has been surprising to me as well, restaurants have obviously been hugely impacted by COVID. Probably the greatest demand we're seeing, I'm assuming Aaron's seeing the same thing, is these folks out there looking for restaurant space. Generally, they're looking for second generation space, but sometimes they're looking for, they're starting from scratch, and that it kind of gives you some encouragement about the entrepreneurial spirit that's still alive out there. People ask me, why would that be? And the only thing I can figure out is that you've got this kind of 6-month dead period where people weren't doing anything, and that demand was already there. They were still going to do something, and so they've just been kind of waiting. But the folks that are bound and determined to get open, they see some opportunity out there. But there's been more activity in the restaurant and bar side of things than I would have ever anticipated. It's good to see.
Aaron?
Yeah, well, I guess first I'll say, you talk about the different areas. I think that, there are different types of retailers in these different areas as well. So that will play into it. You look at Grimes, a lot of the retailers are going up there. It's quick serve bank, and it's all convenience type stuff. Not all convenience, but that's a lot of what's driving these outlot sales and whatnot. And you look at Prairie Trail up there in Ankeny, and a lot of it is, you have local boutique types, and those folks will fight like heck to make everything work. And then when you look at more of the nationals, I think if anyone's, I don't say fail, but the ones that are more willing to cut numbers are the ones that are line items of publicly traded companies. I think they're more so probably a little quicker to cut stores than anyone. But, our town as a whole, when you look at all the different pockets, people here are pretty resilient, and I think everyone wants to get back to normal. And, sales may not be, pre-COVID right away, but people are getting out there. So I guess one thing I'd, follow up on that with too, when we talk about sales, COVID and post-COVID and whatnot, is we keep talking about the savings rates. Before, people were saving about 6 to 8%, I think it was, of their personal income. And then you saw it got up to, I think it was like 32% during COVID. And now I know when we talk to our friends, everyone wants to just get out and do things again. And I keep hearing people talk about this roaring 20s concept. I hope they're right, but who knows? But everyone just wants to get back to normal, go places, go out to eat. I mean, we haven't had a babysitter or a date, like in 10, 12 months here. And we're just ready to get back to normal.
So we do obviously have some vacant spaces in the Des Moines area. What kind of companies, businesses are going to fill that? Is it going to be retail or other? How is that space going to be filled?
The users that are out there right now looking for space are medical and auto related, and then surprisingly too, restaurant users.
Is that what you're seeing, Harry?
Well, our experience, I'll even go back a couple examples, and this is pre-COVID, but can give us a sense of what what we're seeing from the national retailers that we work with. 4 years ago, 3 years ago, Sportsman's Warehouse closed as a chain. The Water Tower Shopping Center that we're involved with ended up with a large vacancy. Took time, took the experience of a developer with contacts and resources, but that was re-tenanted into 3 tenants that really wanted to be on the University Corridor, Ross, Five Below, and Alta. Made, actually in the end, it was an improvement to the shopping center and at least, and good to the community. We're seeing the same thing continue to happen. As Aaron said, the Jordan Creek area, for the most part, is very stable occupancy. There are a couple of examples I could talk about in a second, but for the most part, there hasn't been any major retailer turnover out there. Along University Avenue, it continues. I'll come back to that one in a second. And then we have, and again, Ankeny, very stable. Waukee, Grimes, that's all new, new development. Other parts of Des Moines are still, the Merle Hay area that you covered very well. That was covered very well last year's roundtable and recent articles, Kathy. I think we're looking at an opportunity for Merle Hay to reinvent itself. There's some challenges, some competition. Valley West Mall back, and then Southridge Mall. We're fortunate to have the Coppola family being involved there, but there's some challenges on that side of Des Moines. Coming back to the University Corridor, Valley West Mall, again, everybody's kind of holding their breath on what's going to happen there. I assume the Van Nauer relocation is still on track. But otherwise, the University Corridor continues to be very strong. There was a Bed Bath vacancy at Jordan Creek that was backfilled immediately. But frankly, I was impressed that Bed Bath looked at their 2 stores and decided the University Avenue store was the one to leave open. And so again, University Avenue from the interstate working east, you get down to the Valley West Mall we just talked about. And then along 22nd Street, Gordman's closed. And I don't know that it's been announced publicly, but it is known in the industry that Floor & Decor is taking that box, and we're going to get a brand new Floor & Decor. And Des Moines is probably one of the smallest markets in the country that they considered. So, we had some involvement in that, and I know that was being worked on for quite a time before they finally said, "Yeah, let's do this." I think that speaks very well for Des Moines from the standpoint of home growth and remodeling and all that.
Mhm.
And then, so that's a good news story. That's a backfill, that large vacancy that would have been a black eye along University and the interstate. Happy to see that happen. And then one other that I'm involved with at the Westridge Shopping Center, where Half Price Books is, Kohl's, Penny's closed their home store there a couple of years ago, and that's being re-tenanted into a Burlington coat. And then there's another smaller retailer that's coming in to bring that shopping center back up to 100% occupancy. So again, I'm optimistic that we're going to continue to work hard, put our money where our mouth is, and keep our occupancy in Central Iowa pretty strong.